How are we doing today, Miami Dolphins fans? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network coming to you today from a little bit of a different background. If you are a loyal viewer, you're going to notice, hey, where the hell are you? I'm just not at home today, so we're making do. But you know what? It's minicamp. It's no days off. This is mandatory minicamp. I'm not going to cheap you guys out of a video. So we're back here today talking day 2 of Miami Dolphins minicamp, which, as we came to find out at the end of practice today, going to be the last day that these Miami Dolphins are on the field until training camp hits later in July. Minicamp was supposed to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is going to end up turning into a walkthrough. So this is it. There's going to hit that summertime. It's going to be that lull period, and that's fine. We all got to enjoy summer as well. But I'll tell you what, if you haven't gotten subscribed yet, make sure you are doing so. As always, thanks to everyone that already is subscribed. But hey, we're going to be bringing you as much Dolphins content as you can handle throughout the summer here. So like I said, definitely get subscribed if you have not done so already. But today we're going to be talking about the media availability that we had from minicamp, obviously the on-field reports that we got today from minicamp. A day can't go by where we're not talking about Tua Tagovailoa in a contract situation, so we'll likely talk about that a little bit as well. Before we jump into today's action, though, got to say, if you missed the day 1 report, definitely go back. Obviously, we got to talk more about Tua's contract, Tyreek's contract, all the on-field stuff there. However, we were also able to kind of share some information, some facts about Tua Tagovailoa and his work that he's been able to do this offseason to really put him in a position to deserve this contract and really put him and this team to even take this offense to new heights in 2024. So I really think you'll enjoy that video. If you haven't been able to check it out yet, definitely go ahead and do so. Let's cruise through the media availability portion of this episode real quick here, because I thought it was interesting that during Mike McDaniel, when he was talking to the media today before practice, he wasn't scared to come out there and say that this Miami Dolphins running back room is one of the best that he's been around in regards to quality of the players, depth of the position in general. And it's interesting to me because it's like, yeah, you have a bit of a conundrum. One of the things I'm looking forward to most this offseason is the growth of this running back room. And going into the season, how are we bringing these guys out against these teams? Because we have so many guys that you want to utilize. Well, when you already have Odell Beckham, Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, it's like there's only one football, and we've got a lot of skill guys to get the ball to. Well, now we got Jonnu Smith, Jody Fortson, you got Raheem Mostert, you got Devon Achane, you got Jalen Wright. We still have Jeff Wilson, you got Chris Brooks. We have a load of playmakers. And Mike McDaniel might not be wrong. He probably speaks in a little bit of hyperbole when he's talking about his team and trying to elevate the guys that he's working with. But at the end of the day, if we have injuries to a guy like Mostert or Achane, well, you went ahead and you drafted a guy like Jalen Wright in the 4th round. Chris Brooks was showing some good promise. We've seen Jeff Wilson have his moments as well. I don't want to wish injury on anyone, but this might be a position now where we do have enough depth. Maybe we can survive a potential injury at this situation. Like I said, I don't want that. I want to be full force, all systems go every single Sunday that we are going to play football this upcoming season. But at the end of the day, we did a very nice job solidifying this running back room. And Mike McDaniel wasn't scared to say that today. This next thing is not much of a story at all. It's the fact that Odell Beckham Jr., he's been with the Miami Dolphins so far. Since he signed this offseason, he was obviously present. There's photos of him. There's videos of him. He's just really not doing the team drills as well. And Mike McDaniel, what he said really shouldn't come to a shock to anyone that's been following the Miami Dolphins since Mike McDaniel's been the head coach. And it's that he wants to learn about Odell Beckham, the person, the body, how he reacts to being on the field, his practice, just basically how the body reacts. And if you think about the Miami Dolphins and the injuries that they've had the last couple of years, the common denominator is we are more safe with our injured players than I've seen from any Dolphins team that I've ever been following during my 36 years of existence. So the idea that maybe Odell Beckham Jr. has maybe just a little bit of some sort of injury, ailment, whatever's going on with him, you know damn well that they're just going to, you know what, we're going to put you on the shelf, because when we're practicing in July, in August, when preseason hits, when the regular season hits, those reps are going to be more important. We're going to remember that more than anything that you're going to be doing in early June. So like I said, not much of a story, but it gives you a little bit of a reason why you're not seeing Odell Beckham in these team drills. And a little bit of speculation here, but kind of reading between the lines, they probably just don't want him to go out there and re-aggravate something. All right, Dolphins fans, as we do for these reports, we go kind of position by position with the news that we got from today. In today's, we didn't have quite as much stuff individually come out, so I've got a couple of other just random nuggets from the offseason, OTAs, the mini camps so far, but we'll jump in with quarterback position. And obviously, like I said, we're never going to go a day without talking about two of the dudes always in the news. And the one thing that you're going to see today was maybe he wasn't quite as sharp as he was on Tuesday. You know what I say to that? It's like, well, he went 11 of 12 on Tuesday. The one incompletion was a drop. I think he accounted for 4 touchdowns. Going to be a little bit hard to lead up to that. So there was a one, I think it was Travis Wingfield said, Tua looking sharp as always. We don't even need to say that anymore. That's kind of become the practice norm for Tua Tagovailoa. There are other beat reporters that are saying, you know, it wasn't quite as clean today. Like I said, we're not playing with a full deck right now. It is early June. It's 7-on-7s. Tua still, as of today, was not doing any of the 11-on-11 work. He was sticking to 7s. Sounds like it went fine. Where the issue came in is when the Dolphins did do more of the 11-on-11 team drills. Because like I said, that wasn't featuring Tua. That's Mike White. That's Skylar Thompson. And that's where this offseason you've seen the inconsistencies show up. The lack of production on offense showing up. The Miami Dolphins seemingly always having a defender end up being in the orange jersey. And the kind of the story of the offseason is that the defense has been winning more of these practices than the offense. Well, with Tua not participating in these team drills, it's been the backup quarterbacks. And as we've seen, despite what people might tell you, this offense isn't a system where you can just plug and play anyone in at quarterback. That is not the case. Tua has a very special skill set that has been built up perfectly by what we are doing on this offense. So like I said, don't let anyone run that narrative by you that, hey, we can just plug in anyone into this system and you'll create the league's best offense. Not necessarily the case. But what it is Mike McDaniel saying in his media availability that, yeah, I'd like to have Tua getting the reps in the 11s-on-11s, because any day that you are missing, you're missing out on an opportunity to take that offense to a new height. So quite honestly, with no on-field practice on Thursday and then with not seeing the Dolphins on the field again until training camp, we've been saying all offseason that the Dolphins' goal was by the start of the regular season, extend Tua Tagovailoa, extend Jaylen Waddle. I think it's going to get pushed up. I personally think that it's not even just by the regular season now. I think we're going to get a new Tua Tagovailoa contract extension before training camp starts. I don't think this team, this offense wants to go into training camp knowing that it's a good possibility Tua is not going to be your quarterback for these 11-on-11 drills. With how much hype, with how much potential this team has with the offense clicking, I don't think we're going to want to go down that road. We've already said it's not a matter of if it happens with Tua Tagovailoa, it's when it happens. So if you're not the world's biggest Tua Tagovailoa fan, I don't know what to tell you at this point in time, other than the fact that I think a deal is going to get done probably before we hit the field here in training camp. One other nugget that I had on his contract, like I said, we can't go a day without speaking at least some sort of specifics on his contract. When his deal does get done, look for that contract to just coincidentally come in just above a guy like Justin Herbert. I've been told that that is the bar, so don't expect anything lower than what Justin Herbert is getting. Moving on to the running backs, we talked about the running backs a little bit already, so I don't need to go too much in depth on this one. But I'm very curious to see how much of what we're hearing about Devon Achane being utilized as a receiver, not just as a receiver out of the backfield, but lining up all over the formation, not just running dump off routes, but running a more complex route tree. How much of that gets bled into the regular season? Because I talked about this plethora of running backs that we have. So if we have that luxury of being able to run all these running backs out, but we can still utilize a formation where Mostert's in the backfield and Devon Achane is lined up maybe in the slot, and you got to worry about him coming around. You got to worry about a trick play. You got to worry about him running just basic routes. That's going to be a lot for defenses to handle. So we're seeing more usage from Achane out of those wide receiver positions. So like I said, not as much stuff that happened today, but just stuff that we're seeing from the offseason that, you know what, keep an eye on, because maybe there's going to be an uptick in what we see from Devon Achane from a receiving standpoint this year. I probably buried the lead a little bit here as we transition into the wide receivers because by all accounts, the star of today's practice was Jaylen Waddle. I always call him 17. We'll call him the Penguin. We'll do the Waddle. Like I said yesterday, though, his teammates calling him 28 because of that new AAV that he's getting there at 28 mil per year on the average. But he caught 2 long balls today, including a 60-yard touchdown in 11 on 11s from Mike White. I actually have a clip of that the Dolphins social media put out. So let's just watch that. And as you can see, he bombs it out there. Quite a few air yards on there. Has his man beat. Goes ahead and takes it in the rest of the way. Probably it looks like a little bit of a break in coverage at that point, but at the end of the day, you know what? It's Jaylen Waddle showing out. And what I want to talk about here with Jaylen Waddle is maybe not even necessarily what happened today, because like I said, once again, he was the star of the day. He was shining today. And yeah, Tyreek's not out there and Odell's not out there, but we've seen when Jaylen Waddle needs to be a wide receiver one, whether it was his rookie year, setting the record for most receptions as a rookie, whether it was games when Tyreek Hill missed, that game against the Jets where he absolutely torched what's considered one of the league's best defenses. Jaylen Waddle has that makeup of a wide receiver one, and we are in such a fortunate position where he's our clear-cut wide receiver two. Talk about a luxury. We've got an unbelievable luxury right now at both running back and wide receiver, in my opinion. But everything that we've been told this offseason regarding Jaylen Waddle, he's faster. Somehow he's faster. He's not injured anymore. He had so many lingering injuries last year. We never really got to see the full Jaylen Waddle in year 2 of Mike McDaniel's offense. He's faster, he's quicker, he's stronger, he's getting better with his route running. He's making a point of emphasis to do more hands catching. I know he's been one to have a few drops, let the ball get into his body. It's been a point of emphasis this offseason for him to get more involved with that hands catching, and all of that stuff has improved. So talk about a guy who, I've said this a couple of times now, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, we're going to look at his contract extension and say, man, I really think we got a steal with that player. So by all accounts, Jaylen Waddle, star of today's practice. Tight ends, Jonnu Smith caught an intermediate route and then he outran a safety on the play. Travis Wingfield noted that he damn near looks like a wide receiver when he's out there, the way that he moves. And we talked about him just being kind of an outlier at this position compared to what we've had in the past. We've had the jump ball guy in Mike Gesicki. We've had the blocking guys with the Durham Smythe. We've never had the tight end that you can get the ball to and then let him create after the catch. That is 100% what Jonnu Smith is. And I talked about it leading up to OTAs. Curious to see how the tight ends get involved in the offense this year. By all accounts so far this offseason, it looks like that's definitely on Mike McDaniel's plate of things to help this offense evolve. Travis Wingfield also noted that, moving on to some linebacker talk here, noted Cam Brown stood out on Wednesday. Now, when the Dolphins signed linebacker Cam Brown, I saw that, that's going to be a strictly special teams type of contributor, maybe in like some heavy packages when you're expecting a run. Maybe he gets a couple of snaps in that. But we talked about it before. If there's areas of weakness on this team or areas where we might need depth, linebacker in a roundabout way maybe kind of remains one of those. So any positive notes that we get from these linebackers, by all means, chalk that up as a good thing. And one other thing that I was told to keep an eye on is the free agent linebacker that we signed. And it's not the one that we're talking about more often than not in Jordan Brooks. And I'm not trying to put these guys in the same class, but maybe a kind of a sneaky surprise player could be Anthony Walker as well. I don't have a ton of specifics on that in regards to his actual on-field performance. Just been told that he is exceeding expectations. I don't know if that's maybe the right phrasing, but definitely a guy that has stood out as being a pretty solid free agent pickup so far that's been a little bit low-key. We'll call it that. Finishing up here in the secondary, we talked about defensive players getting the orange jersey. Happened once again in today's practice with Jordan Poyer. I think it was Cam Wolf, and there's been a couple other beat writers as well that said the amount of off-season work that Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer are putting in, and it goes beyond just the on-field stuff. It's the communication stuff, making sure that they're on the same page, because those safeties have to have an awesome line of communication Well, it sounds like they are clicking well. They are further ahead than a lot of people thought they were going to be. And we talked about it a couple of videos ago, so I won't go in a ton detail today. But what Jordan Poyer is doing from a leadership standpoint, helping guys like Nick Needham who are making transition over to the safety position, that leadership, that ability to be a mentor, that's the stuff that you don't know that you're going to get when you sign a player. So by all accounts, sounds like Jordan Poyer likely deserved that orange jersey today. We'll wrap things up with Cam Smith. Sounds like he's had a couple of issues in team drills. It sounds like he's looking the part in the individual stuff. The athletic profile remains there. He's put in the work. He's looking solid as an actual athlete out there. But some of the team stuff, he's been on the wrong end of some of these bigger completions. So it's something to keep an eye on. I was told that a couple of them have been more schematic communication type of stuff, but that's something that we're going to want to clear up, stuff that's going to potentially hinder Cam Smith from being on the field, which by all accounts is probably part of the reason why Vic Fangio kept him in the doghouse for basically his entire rookie season. So we're going to want to see some of that stuff cleaned up here. Like I said, hopefully he continues to put in the work, do the training here in this lull period. Like I said, we're not getting back on the field until July, but once July hit, keep that on your radar for training camp as well, because we would love to absolutely see a jump from Cam Smith and just help with the versatility that this defense can have. Because, sorry, I'm rambling here. I wanted to cut this video a little earlier today, but defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver got to talk to the media today as well, and basically said, if you read between the lines on some of this stuff, it's like it's not going to be as stationary as it was last year. He's going to give these guys flexibility. He's going to give these guys the opportunity to be in positions to succeed. He wants to, I think he used the word coming at people like a tsunami from the defensive line as well, and being more creative with blitzes and just being more aggressive overall than, especially compared to what we saw last year under Vic Fangio. So like I said, a little bit of rambling there, but you want to be able to see a guy like Cam Smith end up being able to be trusted with these meaningful snaps on the boundary to really free up and untap that all that potential that Jalen Ramsey has for the secondary. I will kill it there for today, Miami Dolphins fans. Thanks for sticking with me and for my plant. I don't know what we got going on there. Beautiful though, right? Like I said, though, Dolphins fans, get subscribed if you haven't done so already. Thanks to everyone that got to check out today's video, all the subscribers as well. You guys are the best. We'll kill it there for today, Dolphins fans. And until next time, Fins